Hello everyone, my name's Pete and I don't like Jurassic Park, mayonnaise or MMOs. And while you won't find me sampling different mayo brands, you will find me touring MMOs to decide on a game by game basis, instead of sweeping generalisations. If there's something you think I should have a look at, then please put it in the comments and I'll add it to the list. This series is brought to you by the lovely Patreon supporters. To join this prestigious list you can check out the description, but keep in mind it's only for people who hate money. Rift, for those who aren't aware, is one of the MMOs of all time. It has gameplay and graphics and I'm going to prove it to you right now. Launching the game for the first time shows a lovely cutscene that I could just not record no matter how hard I tried. So if you want to see it then the game's free, but I will warn you, you won't gain any knowledge of the game from it. It left me with no clue on what to expect, but that's okay because afterwards I'm asked to pick a side. Guardians or Defiance are my choice, and the descriptions tell me that it's a choice between being faithful to the gods or not. I picked Defiant because I've no idea what this choice will mean and hopefully it won't matter. Now for character creation. There are 3 races to choose from. There's small, medium and large. After that I'm to pick a class and there's already some paywalled choices here which is just fantastic and really inviting. You can preview high level gear for each of these classes and in the traditional manner of MMOs it's all about shoulder pad size. Up next is choosing a purpose, and there's a tooltip telling me that this has no permanent effect on my character and that it can be changed, which means I don't have to pay attention to it, and so I don't. And then it's to the fairly standard character creator. Nothing special here except for the pathetic beard options, and I guess face paint is my only option there. What follows is a cutscene that explains that I am an Ascended and apparently I'm the tool that's needed against Regulus the Destroyer, who has devoured everything. The fat bat. A loading screen later and I'm faced with a rather busy UI. The tutorials are fighting each other and everything else is competing for my attention. Apparently I've been added to a starter guild to encourage playing together, but I don't expect to be interacting with any players just yet. The NPC I'm supposed to talk to tells me that I am a marvel of science, which is rather nice of him, and I must go back to the past, but not before I have my tutorial of kill stuff, press stuff and pick stuff up. When someone says MMO, this is the combat I think about. I don't know if there's an official name for this system, but it's a common feature and no game stands out from the other in its execution. There's nothing wrong with it, it all works fine, but it's not my favourite. I have to activate the local defences to help with the onslaught of whatever these things are. After that I get swamped by shadow things and then run past a big scary looking guy who I won't try and fight. I wander down the path and find myself in the ruins of a small village where I receive my next quest. It's another Kill X quest, but that's okay, there's plenty of time for variety to happen. I've been gaining levels, and therefore soul points to spend. The skill tree looks like this, and I could spend a long time reading things that I won't fully understand for many hours, but here's the first thing that I really do like. There's a built-in leveling guide. This is perfect for new players who don't want to spend 15 weeks reading text and figuring out how the abilities connect to each other and just want to get on with playing. So naturally I'm going to do that. There are a few more tutorial pop-ups that explain things like the minimap and quest markers. I really like these giant tendrils that are all over the place. It's a great world-ending aesthetic. But as I understand it, I'm in the Doom timeline anyway, so I'm not really bothered about what happens here. I continue with my work of killing varying amount of enemies, and I notice that the items that they drop have rather dramatic names. I feel like condensed hopelessness looks like what I see in the mirror, so I sure hope I can sell it to someone. I kill a few of these before I realise I was supposed to use an item on them, and that's probably because I've stopped reading the quest text as thoroughly as I should. And then I come face to face with Frederick the Betrayer, who sounds tougher than he is. And now I'm off to report to the Faceless Man, and come on man, that's just a mask, you liar. He gives me my next bunch of quests, which are nothing much different from what I've already done. This is all very fast paced, and while it seems to be a lot going on, I'm still very aware that I'm in the Doom timeline, so why am I even bothering with these tasks? Just send me back to the past already! I have to face another named enemy who once again isn't any tougher than the regular enemies, and then I get escorted up the hill by my new friend. I will call him Mittens. Mittens is a 25-foot tall magical mechanical construct who can beat the crap out of any number of enemies without taking so much as a scratch, which makes me seriously question how the world came so close to ending. Just send these guys in to solve all your problems. When Mittens reaches the next camp, the people celebrate and I report to the NPC who is very pleased to see me, and it looks like it's finally time to go back to the past. The portal is guarded by this angry lady who is talking at the same time as a tutorial, and then I have to clear a couple of waves of enemies and then take out the angry lady, and then the big bad Regulus appears. He'd get destroyed by Mittens.
Did you moles really think you could stop the power of the Regulus?
Monster.
Okay, the temporal matrix is stabilized. I don't know how long I can hold it open. Get through the time machine now.
You heard him, Defiant. Only you can stop this. Go, Defiant. Fight your way back to the past.
and deliver the warnings of this failed future. The cults will release the dragons. The ward will fall. And Regulus will descend on Talara, bringing us face to face with our annihilation. If you do not stop this chain of events, everything we have worked for, everything we have died for, will have been in vain. You are our one chance to alter history, Defiant. You must forge a new future for Talara.
A bit jarring, that, isn't it? Yes, there's daily rewards, and there's also a bunch of other things that are annoying, and I'll touch on those later. But here we are in the past, which doesn't look like it's going all that well either, to be honest. Fire raining from the sky and purple tentacle clouds dotted all about. Here I get a tutorial for the soul tree, which is done in the form of a video, and after all the text boxes, this just feels weird. But anyway, on with my tasks. At this point, I'll be honest, I stopped reading the quest text entirely and just read the summaries, and that was on the occasions that I wasn't just pressing accept and using the map and quest tracker. Unfortunately, I don't remember the names of any of the people I've just left behind, so I can't tell you if I'm interacting with any past counterparts here. There's some kind of fast travel which involves these big green portals, but I need to go and find them before I can use them, and then I get a message from the future which is being sent back from the past, which is now my present. Nothing important was said. And then I interact with a vendor, and there's this big shiny button that says Patron, so I click on it, because, obviously, and it's a monthly subscription option. It's a pay-to-win scheme, and it's gross, and there's a way to this from the shop, but there's no way back to the shop. Having monetization in a game is fine. It's not fun, but it's always going to exist. What isn't fine is not waiting for players to even settle in before reaching for the wallets. But I try really hard not to focus on this too much in these videos, so instead here's a feature I really do like. I have a book in my inventory, and by right-clicking it, I can collect it. This moves the book into a part of my character menu where I can access it at any time. So if I should become a little more interested in the lore, because honestly I'm not at the moment, I can go to my books and read up on things. And now we'll just get on with the standard MMO content. It's all fine, everything works as expected, it's not thrilling or particularly engaging, but it's not offensive in its design either. I get a quest from a bag on the floor, and when I complete it, I learn about the treasure alert, which will store rewards when the resolution to a quest doesn't involve going back to a quest giver. But it will only store up to 10 rewards. This isn't a problem, as I'll just claim them as they pop up. Bringing up the world map shows all of the regions with level guides, which is a nice touch and helps me understand the path my journey will take. On the one hand, it's a little sad to see things restricted, and on the other hand, scaling content is also a problem from my experience in World of Warcraft. That becomes a long slog of feeling less and less powerful every time you level up. I closed a rift, which was okay. It wasn't as cool as, say, an Oblivion Gate, but it's a nice little activity. Loot is assigned to players for participation, and because nobody else is around, I got it all. And when I finish this quest, I get told I can now close rifts, so I guess what I did there wasn't really closing a rift. And suddenly, the number of quests available blows wide open. So far, there's nothing that really makes this game stand out. When someone mentions MMO, this is what I imagine to be the standard template. To the casual observer, I imagine this is hard to distinguish between Lord of the Rings Online, World of Warcraft, Guild Wars 2 or Dungeons & Dragons Online. Of course there's differences, and I've probably triggered some people, but here it seems like it's doing a just about passable job of everything it's supposed to. Closing rifts is a nice idea, but if you return after a few minutes, they've reopened. This is important, as players need the chance to take part in them, but seeing it's still there when you walk past again very soon after kinda removes any meaning from it. I have to admit though, they look damn good. Another nitpicky issue is that sometimes you have to choose a reward, but the rewards are all class-specific ones. It takes less than 5 seconds to pick the correct one, but just give me the one that's useful to me. And here's one of the more unusual features, which might have been cool if it wasn't executed so weirdly. You get your own player home called a dimension. I'm given one that's a replica of the piece of land I've just been questing in. It's smaller than it looks, and there's this nice green barrier confining me to this hut and piece of grassland. And I'm given a tutorial in placing decorations. I can spin, lift, and even resize things. I'm also given some random stone and wood, and I've no idea what you're expected to do with this. So I drop everything there so it doesn't clutter my inventory, and I never go back. Hitting level 10 triggers some more aggressive store funneling, trying to shove various premium currencies and storefronts down my throat, which is just another huge turn off. I also have access to the Instant Adventure queue, which is kind of like a dungeon finder. I'll check that out later. There's also a neat little option for playing with higher level friends, which is called sidekicking. This scales all group members to the highest level player, and then gives each member rewards that are relevant to their unscaled level. Some quests are started simply by picking up items.
A new hand touches the beacon.
And I have an ability that lets me open these tears into rifts should I wish to tackle one. And I do, and these ants nearly kill me. Once I've cleared some larger enemies, I get to the bonus waves of the rift. These ones are timed and grant additional rewards. They're a little bit tougher, and when this guy spawns in, I begin to think the bonus rounds are meant for groups, but well, yeah. I pass a mount shop and they're too expensive for me right now, and then I reach the reason to play. The fishing minigame. It's simple, it's relaxing, and there's a feedback loop. You can catch different things in deep or shallow water, and you can use what you catch to make bait to catch better stuff. It is so simple in its execution, and yet I find myself drawn to it like a fat guy to a cheeseburger. There's a chain of fishing tasks on this beachfront if you need a reason to catch stuff, but honestly I think I'll just fish all day. It's here that I learned that crafting must be completed on the menu, making it one of the more boring systems of sitting watching bars fill up. There's not even a nice animation to pass the time, but at least it's fairly fast. And then I take a break from catching fish to catch some fire squirrels instead. Overall leveling's fast and I'm not playing particularly quickly, but it can be made even faster by subscribing because of course it can. I did try the Instant Adventure, which found me a group consisting of myself and was hardly much different from what I had been doing other than the quests were queued up for me with no NPC interaction. I did this for about 20 minutes and at one point someone did join, although we didn't interact. And that's pretty much the new player experience. Of all the MMOs I've played in the last 18 months, this is definitely one of them. It is one of the MMOs that exists. It's fine, it all looks fine, it plays fine, the story is fine, but I feel like it does the minimum that an MMO should do in every part that I've seen so far. I see no reason that a bunch of friends would have a bad experience here, but I also see no reason to choose this over any of the other free-to-play options out there. With one exception, of course. So I think I'll give this game a fishing out of 10. Thanks again to the Patreon supporters, and remember to give me suggestions for MMOs in the comments. You can press subscribe if you want to boost my ego, but for now, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.